In this video, I want to continue our exploration asking the question, are we who we think we are? Because so many of us, we fall for this illusion, this story told by the left side of the brain, what we call the ego. And it's just masquerading its story as our own uniqueness, when in fact it's much more accurately described as a reflection of the masses, a clone of the masses. And so we call ourselves Homo sapiens, a very arrogant thing, probably an ego move, where we define our species as one who knows. But more accurately, we should be calling ourselves Homo conformitus, one who conforms. And the conformity research on this is so overwhelming, it would take hours to describe all the experiments. So I'm just going to give you a couple highlighters here to show you how we are born to conform. Now, when I say that, more accurately, I should say our egos are born to conform. And so we are not our egos. So the really good news of all this is part of our human adventure is to find out who we truly are. And along the way, we find out who we are not. And when we discover that we are not our egos, that sets up the stage so we can really begin the adventure to find out who we actually are. And so one study, they went in and rated faces for attractiveness. And so maybe you'd give this face a 6 out of 10. Then you were given the group's ratings. And so maybe the group was 8 out of 10 for this particular face. Then at some later point, you'd go rate the face again. And people's individual ratings came to match that of the group. But the really interesting thing about the study is the researchers made up the group data. And so it was pretty much random. Now that's really something we should take note of, because when conformity evolved, it was tens of thousands of years ago, when we were in small groups. And when we were in small groups, when you conformed, you were really conforming to what the group was doing. Now, with social media and so much distancing between us and the groups, and we only get, like they did in the study, what we think the group is really doing, the risk of conformity have amplified tenfold, because now we're conforming to what we think the group expects of us. And so instead of homo confabulus, we should be something like one who conforms to what we think those around us are expecting of us. And you can imagine how dangerous that is with social media, because now all that has to be manipulated is what people perceive the group behavior to be. And we are hardwired to feel pain when we are dismissed from the group. And so if you look at the brain areas that light up with real physical pain, those same brain areas light up when the group dismisses us, when the group ostracizes us. So we are literally hardwired to stay in line and not get out of line and disobey the group, or have the group reject us. Third, we are born imitators. Now, there's some really cute pictures you could look online, like newborns, and someone will stick their tongue out at the newborn, and the newborn imitates this. And it's really cute stuff, but it also shows how we're born to imitate those around us. And so this ego, which, again, portrays itself as who you are individually, is really the collective. It's really the masses. And you might say, well, one thing I'm not going to buy with that is, if that's true, why is there so much debate online? I mean, if the ego is one giant collective, why is there so much online argument? Well, the reason is because that's part of the ego illusion. The ego illusion has a built-in mechanism to make it feel like there's actual choices to be made. It reminds me, one of my favorite, I think it's the 70s movie, The Blues Brothers. Like, a guy walks into a bar and he says, what kind of music do you have? And she says, we've got both kinds, country and Western. And the reason I love that line is because it really sets itself up as the ego illusion. There's so many choices. We're like, I don't know, I'm in this debate, and I know who I am because I'm on this side of the debate. Well, why are you even debating it in the first place? Or is it truly something that you've decided to debate? And why is there only one of two choices? Why not option C? Or why not both? And so often, the part of the ego, the only way it can convince itself is that it's really who we are, is to give us the illusion of choice, which so often comes with these false dichotomies. So here's the exercise. Here's the practice you can help demind yourself. These thoughts that you have from morning to night, most of them, the vast majority of them, are not even your thoughts, including the ego and who you think you are. So you could take Post-it notes. You can do this with your phone and ask yourself over and over, maybe even just in a 5-minute period, because you have so many thoughts, even over 5 minutes, this sometimes will work. But if you can do it for a little longer, the longer the better. And ask yourself over and over again. So write it out on a Post-it note. Was the thought I just had my own? Did I create the thought that I just had? And you will find over and over again the answer will be no, that was not my thought. And you'll start to experience that this thing that's been masquerading as your personal uniqueness is actually a reflection of the collective masses identity that was never you in the first place.